Hello, I'm Twinkl. It's a great educational resource, but it costs a lot of money. And if you're going to give that amount of money away each year, then you've got to decide whether it is the educational resource for you. When you first log on to Twinkl, it can be a little bit overawing. There are so many sections, and when you type something into the search engine, you come up with many, many different resources. And sometimes it's a little bit unnerving just deciding what resource you want to use. Hopefully, I'm going to take you through the menu screen and some of the different sections of Twinkl. I'm an Ultimate member because I'm a home educator. I've been using it for many, many years now for my children. And I find all of the sections for Ultimate absolutely fantastic, but I don't use them all. I'm just going to go through each of them with you so you've got an idea of where to go for the resources that might be relevant to you. Now, there is one thing that you will definitely need, and that is a printer. The second thing you will definitely need is some sort of PC or computer. A laptop is fine. There are so many resources. There are PowerPoints, there are worksheets, there are cutout resources, there are recipes, there are how-to guides, there are science experiments, there are all sorts of amazing interactive resources too. So we'll have a look at some of those today and see what might inspire your child. Okay, here we have the home screen, and this tells me I am an Ultimate member, which means I have access to Twinkl Cares, Twinkl Classic, Twinkl Create, Originals, Inclusion, Foundation, Planit, Imagine, Boost, Handwriting, Book Club, Newsroom, Move, Go, Phonics, Life, Beyond, with 3 different colours for Beyond, and 4 different colours for Beyond, so we'll have a look at what those mean later on. Looking at that, it looks a little bit daunting, but you don't need to worry too much about that. I'm going to focus on the ones that I think are the most useful. Create, well, those are for you to create your own teaching tools, and that might not be relevant for you because you want to come on here and grab tools. Now, Foundation, as I was saying earlier, is really for early years and reception year. So I have a 4-year-old, so that is useful for me. Book Club. Book Club is a book that you receive through the post. Again, another nice little addition to the Ultimate membership, but you don't really need to have to worry about that. Newsroom, now that's quite a nice thing to do if you want your kids to read a child-friendly bit of news. So I'll just move my mouse over to Newsroom. Okay, there we go, there's Newsroom. And it will take me to Twinkl Newsroom for today, and it will focus on whether you want lower key stage 2, so that's year 3 and year 4. And then we have upper key stage 2, and that is years 5 and 6. So this is year 3 and 4, and this is year 5 and 6. And then it will give you an assortment of different news articles that they can read. So you can click on those news articles and find out a little bit about something that might be in the news at the moment. So we've got tours around museums, robo quiz, something about a velociraptor hunting alone. To make it really easy, Twinkl have this excellent section called Twinkl Planit. Now, that is everything that you need for a scheme of work. And for scheme of work, by that I mean you're going to teach the Egyptians to a particular year group. It will give you everything you need for that entire project, that entire scheme of work. And you'll get that in a zip file, and you download the zip file, and there'll be a sequence of lessons in individual folders that you extract. And then in each of those folders, you've got the PowerPoint, you've got the learning plan, you've got the different resources that you'll need for per lesson. So here we are trying out Twinkl Go. You can see we've got all of the choices there. I'm going to click on Twinkl Go, and that takes me to this new screen which says Welcome to Twinkl Go. And we've got a choice of all the different things we can put into our lesson, our interactive lessons. I'm going to click on My Lessons, and this takes me to a different screen. And if you want to create a learning lesson for your child that they can do on their tablet, you need to click on New Lesson, and that is the blue rectangle there. So New Lesson, and then you create the lesson. Doesn't really matter what you call it. So you've got your son or your daughter, and they're going to do a lesson. So I've got Indy here, and pop his lesson in here for the date, so it
doesn't get confused as to which lesson he's going to do when it goes onto his tablet, and pick the right age group. But none of this particularly matters. This is just for you. And you click on lesson created, and then that new lesson will appear in this bank on the left hand side with new lessons. So now we've created the lesson, we're going to put some things into it. So these are all the choices: watch, play, listen, explore. So we'll look at listen and see if there is an audio book that I can put into today's lesson. So Indy's Key Stage 2, which means he's in year 5. So Key Stage 2 is year 3 all the way through to year 6. So I'm going to just refine my search by putting in something to do with English. So I've got a choice of a few audio books here, and looking to see if there's something that appeals. So we'll choose the pirate one. So we click on there, and then we scroll down the page. So a little bit clunky. And then if we want to add it to the lesson that we've made for our child, we click on add to lesson, and then it gives us the lessons that we've created, and we look along for the lesson that you've just created, and it's right on the end there, and you click save, and that resource has been added to that class. And then you have to click outside of that white box, so there's no real notification about you having to do that. So click outside, there we go, and that loses the box. And then you can choose something else. So I've clicked on play. So there are different games. Once again, choose the correct key stage for your child, and then you could just scroll down and see if there are any good maths or English or history or geography games. So we're choosing this multiplication game, and again, a bit clunky, you have to scroll down to find add to lesson, and then again choosing the lesson that you want to add it to and save. Okay, so we've added a game. Oh, this is a good game, arithmetic. So lots of battling and getting the right sums correct and defeating spooky creatures. So my kids like this one, so we'll add that one to the lesson. Scroll along, find the right class. There we go. So the 17th of May, and make sure we click save, and the resource is added successfully. And then once again, you have to click outside of that box. Now, shall we add any other resources to this lesson? So watch, we'll see if there are any nice videos. So they have some nice history ones on here. We'll try a bit of math, so go to mathematics, and it's, oh, I haven't put in the correct key stage. We need to make sure we change the key stage so it's relevant to his age group. And then we'll see what we've got available. So we've got a whole range of different maths videos and activities that he can watch. So equivalent fractions, I know we've been doing that recently, so that might be a good one to choose. Yeah, there's all sorts of different maths resources. You've just got to keep scrolling down and seeing what else is available to you. And there's 2 pages worth of little videos to create nice lessons. So it's a little bit like bite size really, but you can add what you like into it and give them a tailored class on their tablet. Add that to the lesson and hit save. So now we click on my lessons, and we can see that 17th of May is saved, and we can see all the resources that we've just been putting into our lessons. So the arithmetic, the space explorers, the story, that's all in. So now I'm going to show you how to get the lessons that you've prepared for your child onto their tablet. You can just put them directly onto the screen and run it like that on a PC. But if you want to send it to them, so I'll click on this one. There we go. So, sharing the lesson. Okay, share lesson. Okay, now, hopefully Etienne goes on to Twinkl and he will type in that code. Okay, so Etty is logging into Twinkl Go. And now he's going to enter the PIN code. So he's doing that now. iPad's a little slow, it's very old. So he copies that PIN code in. 10, and then log in. And that should Just loading now. Yep, it gives him the first lesson on there, which is Space Explorers Multiplication. And as you can see, that is the first lesson that I put on there for Etty back in March. Uncompleted, but he's going to do it now. So he's got an assortment of different things in there, from learning about parts of the bike and longitude and latitude and the numbers game and road safety. So now he can run that on his tablet. Here's an example of a Twinkl PowerPoint. So we've downloaded this onto our computer, and this is one of the Twinkl Planit ones. So you get a zip file, and in the zip file you have each lesson, and each lesson has a PowerPoint and resources and lesson plan attached. So this is the start of this history resource. So if I click down to my files, not easy to do in my left hand. Okay, here's an example of a zip file for some year 5 maths. So I've got all the resources there in PDF, and usually there'd be a PowerPoint sat there. And again, you don't need to have this you can download a PDF reader from the internet for free, and you don't need to have PowerPoint in order. You don't need to have the actual software when you're making a PowerPoint. This is PowerPoint Reader, so this is just for reading PowerPoints, and you can get a free version online. Okay, Home Learning Hub. I think this is terrific. Well done, Twinkl, for doing this. This is a little bit like your BBC Bite Size. If you click on Home Learning Hub, which is like a dark green in the top left-hand corner of the page, and if you ever want to go back to home, by the way, you just click on the Twinkl cloud. On the Twinkl Home Learning Hub, is a bit of a breakdown. You have to keep scrolling down, and then you choose the age group of your child. So let's go for my upper key stage 2 child. That's Indy. So I click on age 9 to 11, and it gives you an idea of how to plan your day. Okay, so again, these are things that you would click on to download, and then you would print, and then it's suggestions what you can do all through the day. So of course we've got our Joe Wicks morning routine from 9 until 9:30, and that links in with Twinkl Move, and Twinkl Move is all about getting children moving and PE, etc. Then it's suggesting straight after Joe Wicks, no break there, as if, but you can do this in your own time. 9:30 to 10:30, they can have a go at handwriting practice, then a break, and then a bit of maths for an hour, and then lunch, and then doing some reading. And then we've got a Virgin Galactic space talk, which is live, which sounds exciting, speaking to a real astronaut. And then there's some drawing activities as well. Okay, on the Twinkl home screen, you'll see that there is a topic and event calendar. So if there is something coming up on the calendar, for instance, we've got National Smile Month, we've got International Museum Day. This is another one that's really useful for teachers in schools. They can acknowledge those days by getting some resources, be it a PowerPoint or perhaps an assembly idea or some work that they might do during the daytime. Okay, so we are going to look now at Twinkl Planit, which is one of my favourite features of Twinkl. So I'm going to go just straight to Twinkl Planit, which is here. Twinkl Planit, click on there. Okay, so welcome to Twinkl Planit. And this is the resource where everything is handed to you on a plate, which is very, very nice if you are short on time. So you've got English, maths, taster resources, science, design, tech. And then underneath there, you've got history, geography, art, computing, RE, French, Spanish. I'm not quite sure what the progression maps are. I presume that's something to do with making progress during the course of the year. And you can see that it's broken down into different year groups for nearly all of the resources, apart from history and maths, English. So if your child is in, let's go for Etienne, if he is in year 3, and again, it might be that you see something really interesting in a different year group and you want to do that, feel free to do that, that's absolutely fine. But I'm going to click on science year 3. So this might be something I would do with Etienne, and that tells me, apparently, according to the national curriculum, what Etienne would be studying if he was at school. So we've got resources on light, rocks, forces and magnets, plants, animals, including humans, and some more content, updated content of scientists and inventors. So we'll choose my favourite thing, animals. There we go. So under animals, again, this is where
your view might be less easy. Okay, so you're going to have to negotiate your way through all of these, and it gives you the different units. Okay, so right at the beginning it says animals including humans year 3 planning overview. So that will tell you all the lessons that are included within this scheme of work, and then your planning overview, and then a knowledge organizer. So this is really for teachers in classes. And then we need to kind of look for, and you've got your unit pack here, and that is your displays, every single PowerPoint, all the different resources that you might need. But again, as a home educator, I don't really look at those things. I'm looking for lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, because that will give you everything that you need. So you do have to look at all of these titles, and it isn't that easy to negotiate around. But if you want a fully fledged lesson plan, then you click on your lesson 1 and you open that up, and that will give you everything you need to teach lesson 1 of animals including humans. And what you're going to be teaching or enabling is types of nutrition. And then we move on to lesson 2, types of skeletons. Lesson 3, naming bones. Lesson 4, functions of a skeleton. Lesson 5, we've got mighty muscles. And these are additional resources that you might need that might be mentioned in the scheme of work. And then we've got home learning tasks. So if you've got children in school, that's what they would be given for their homework. You can imagine how useful this is for teachers in school. So we'll click on lesson 1. Okay. Now, this should open up a download button, and this will be a zip file. Okay, so you can see all the bits and bobs you'll get inside it. Oh, how exciting. So you click on your download now zip file. Okay, and you can tell it's a zip file because it's got that lovely zip running down the file. Okay, oops. Now it's downloading for a second time because I accidentally pressed the button. So what you've got to do is click on extract files, and once you've clicked on that, that will unlock and unzip the bag, and you will have all of your files available to you. Now I've done that already, so I'm just going to open the unzipped bag, which is here. There we go. So there's my unzipped bag, and it's got resources, lesson plan, types of nutrition, the lesson presentation, and the success criteria. Again, you don't need to worry about success criteria if you are not in school. So that will give you the lesson plan, PowerPoint presentation, which you could start by opening up and talking about. And then it sounds like you've got a lesson plan to follow through, and the resources. So we'll click on the resources. We've got 3 worksheets there, all of them PDFs. They all suggest like an activity sheet. So if we click on them, we can open them. And again, same thing as last time. We can go to print, and that will print the worksheets that we need for that lesson. Okay, we're back at the home screen now. And if you are just looking for a particular kind of resource, you can always just tap in here, and you might want to look up pirates. Okay, let's look up pirates. If your child is particularly into pirates. So we'll wait and see what comes up. So it looks like we've got all sorts of pirate activities there. But if we scroll down, you might feel that that is a bit much. It could be some of it is irrelevant for your child's age group, and you want to narrow down your search on pirates. So it's got some things that you can click on. Ooh, so there we go. It's got some things that you can click on that are maybe more specific to what you're looking for. For instance, if you want to focus on pirate maps or colouring or activities. Perhaps you want to do some writing or some maths that involves pirates, you can click on that. But if you want to refine your search a little bit more, certainly here would be useful. So let's focus on early years. Okay, so this might be your reception class or perhaps nursery children. So you've got, that's narrowed it down to some lovely simplistic stuff. Okay. Oh, it's moved to Key Stage 2. That's convenient. That could be because I was just pressing buttons when I didn't need to. Okay, so yeah, we've got some lovely simple things here. And then the resource types. It could be that you don't want to see everything. You just want to focus on colouring, or you just want to focus on reading or display. So let's pick out display. So this is stuff that you'd stick up in your classroom or on your wall at home. So anything to do with pirates that could be stuck on the wall. Oh, look, a pirate role play pack. So you've got coins, you've got maps, you've got portholes, you've got a big sign that says pirate ship, you've got some keywords, and you've got a flag. So that could definitely go on the wall. So that's quite a nice idea. Let's try activity sheets. Okay. So there we go, we've got some different worksheets there. It could be, if you're wanting something in a different language, let's see if they've got anything in German, so Deutsch, and then you might be able to get some resources in a different language. No resources in German, sadly. Back at the home screen again. And this time, I'm not going to do a search for keywords. We're going to focus on the year group. So this is something I often do. I often think, oh, what can I do with the kids today? Okay, key stage 2, because one of them is in lower key stage 2, one of them is upper key stage 2. And I think, oh, what haven't we done for a while? Oh, let's have a look. So we've got some resource collections there. Assessment texts, oh, we don't like those. Okay, let's go for some geography. We haven't done any geography for a while. Okay, so geography key stage 2. So that's year 3 all the way up to year 6. Oh, look at that. Some nice key stage 2 geography. There we go. So it gives you the Planit stuff as well. And we've looked at Planit already, where you get some lovely resources based on particular year groups. But if you don't want to do that, say for instance, we wanted to do something together, we could look at the rainforest. Okay, so that's key stage 2 geography. And the rainforest got a bit of information about that. And then it's got a series of different resources. And you can just scroll through this. There won't be too many there. But it's certainly something, if you wanted to pick and choose your resources and rather than have it all laid out on a plate for you, you've got some lower key stage 2 stuff here. So a 60-second piece of work that they can read and then answer some questions on. Then you've got some fact files, you've got some worksheets, a nice ebook that they could read through. If your child's doing persuasive writing, you could print that one out, some cutouts. So this is, again, if you want to do something related to geography and you wanted to do something in a particular year group, but you wanted a little bit of freedom about what exactly you wanted to do. Okay, there's colouring and all sorts. And as always with Twinkl, at the top of the page, it allows you to narrow down what it is you're looking for to do with the rainforest. So say, for instance, I want to look at the different layers of the rainforest with my 2 key stage 2 children. Okay, I've got a nice activity pack there where we can talk about the different layers of the rainforest. There's a PowerPoint that I could share with them. So this one here might be quite a nice one to do with your lower key stage 2 students, because it's a cut and stick exercise. Whereas this one might be better for Indy, that might not enjoy the cutting and sticking so much, but he's quite happy to write about the different layers of the rainforest. So that's another example of how to use that. On Twinkl Beyond, which is your key stage 3 and upwards. So you've got your different units of work here for English, maths and science, broken down into key stage 3 and key stage 4. So that is years 7 to 9 and then years 10 and 11. So the GCSE year groups. Okay. So this is quite comprehensive as well. It suggests that there is also other subjects available. But if we have a look at key stage, let's go for key stage 3 English. Okay, so it's looking a little bit more mature. So again, you're going to have a whole host of resources there that are a little bit intimidating. So you've got to decide what it is you want your child to do for English. So whether they're going to be doing some reading, whether they're going to do writing, speaking and listening. Remember, in Twinkl Planit, you'll have a whole scheme of work for Shakespeare or for Romeo and Juliet. But it's given me some starting points here for key stage 3. So they obviously study Skellig, and it looks like they study Stone Cold, and of course study different types of Shakespearean plays. So we'll click on Romeo and Juliet and see what they've got for Romeo and Juliet. And again, this isn't Twinkl Planit, so it will give you all the resources underneath here, which could be quite intimidating. So you can see that there is a scheme of work, probably from Twinkl Planit, available there. Then we've got a PowerPoint about Romeo and Juliet. So again, you could just pick and choose the things that you want to do. A nice simple word search there, but then you could work through the different lessons. And you can see there's a lesson 23 there. So you've got quite a comprehensive scheme of work about Romeo and Juliet. But if you want to focus on, there we go, we've got a Romeo and Juliet lesson pack. You click on that one. That will give you a whole scheme of work from lesson 1 all the way down to lesson 20 something. So hugely comprehensive resources there. And that is across the board in Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4. Just clicked on the Key Stage 4 GCSE maths, and we have entry level, foundation and higher. So if I click on Foundation for GCSE Maths, there you go. And it gives me different parts of the mathematic curriculum there. So we've got geometry, we've got algebra, we've got probability. So if we try statistics, and again, all of this will be relevant to what they would do in GCSE. Okay, we've got a PowerPoint on how to draw pie charts, a murder mystery pack on Key Stage 3, Maths Need to Know worksheet. So again, interesting that the search engine brought up Key Stage 3. I'm guessing for foundation, that might still be relevant, but we've got quite a few other keywords here that are relevant to Key Stage 4 foundation maths. So you might find that, oh, I've looked up Key Stage 4 and it's come out with Key Stage 3. It could be that Key Stage 3 maths will appear in the foundation paper for Key Stage 4. But you've got scatter graphs, box and whisker diagrams, population, pie charts, line charts, box plots, averages and mean. So words that you would use in association for. So if we wanted to look at averages, we could again narrow our search down a little bit and hopefully have some resources on averages. Yes, so we've got, again, don't be put off by the fact that it says Key Stage 3 or Year 6. It could well be that that scheme of work or that work is relevant to the foundation paper. So on Imagine now, Twinkl Imagine. This is a nice feature, especially if you're looking for something simple to do in a day. So it's broken into Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2, so Year 3 all the way up to Year 6. And every day this changes. It's something different to look at. And you've got somebody that looks to be working on the International Space Station there, which is fascinating. Got an astronaut working there. Great picture. And then it asks you to answer some questions there that you could potentially write about. So Key Stage 1, those are the questions. And Key Stage 2 might be slightly different. Yeah, so we've got a little bit more in-depth question asking here. So something to think about, a maths problem to solve, something to discover and find out, maybe looking up on the internet. This is going to get you to write, so responding to it. You are on board the International Space Station when something goes wrong. You can't contact Earth. What do you do next? So that's getting you to write creatively and perhaps using Mantle of the Expert, being an astronaut and imagining the kind of language that you might use when you're out there and the kind of fear that might be involved in not being able to contact Earth. So that is writing in role. Something to discuss, so they could discuss it with your child, or perhaps they could discuss it with their siblings, about why space stations exist for us, and is it a sustainable way to live away from Earth? Would we need to live in space in the future? And then reimagine. This is quite a nice technology and art task here. We've got design a new International Space Station and all the things that humans might need to survive in space. So you don't just have to have this on the screen. As always, you can download the resources. So if I click on that, hopefully it will bring us to a PDF. Yeah, a PDF of that picture. And again, you can print that in colour. So you've got all of the Key Stage 2 things that they talked about there. And then it's a simple case of making sure you get that print icon come up. And then we can click on that and we can get that printed. Oh, it's not come up in colour. There we go. That's a nice daily activity. And that changes every single day. And that's under Twinkl Imagine. Okay, I've clicked on Twinkl Boost now. Now, I've never used Twinkl Boost. This is something that's used in classrooms. We've got interventions, so perhaps when you need to take a smaller group of children to one side and do some intervention work with them, perhaps to bring them up to a particular standard or to give them additional support. And we've got maths intervention, handwriting, and we've also got some SATs survival, so gearing up to SATs exams, phonics screening, the stuff that happens in primary school. And then we've got some 60-second reading interventions as well there. So I'm guessing this is small group and one-to-one activities that you can click on and give that child some additional support so that they can develop at their best potential. So let's have a look.